At 7 AM on the 3rd of April 1965, North Vietnamese radar operators detect a small group of unidentified aircraft approaching An Nam province in North Vietnam. The aircraft briefly loiter above the city of Thanh Hóa to take photos before retiring to the south. At Noi Bai Air Base, north of the capital of Hanoi, the commander of the Vietnam People's Air Force, Colonel General Phung Tay Thai, orders a Stage 1 alert and sends the pilots to their aircraft. 6 MiG-17F fighter interceptors of the 921st Fighter Regiment wait in their cockpits until 9:40 AM, when they are scrambled to intercept an incoming air raid of American aircraft. The North Vietnamese Air Force is about to do battle against the United States for the first time. But first, a quick word on this week's sponsor, World of Warships, a free-to-play naval warfare-themed game available on PC. Fight in 600 warships, aircraft carriers, battleships, cruisers, destroyers and submarines, in exciting real-time combat on over 40 unique maps in a large active online community. World of Warships is commemorating the heroes of D-Day with a special 80th anniversary event. Relive the Second World War's most pivotal moments in new missions and battles inspired by the events of the 6th of June 1944. Participate in exclusive in-game events and unlock commemorative rewards. Not only are the vessels incredibly detailed, but the dynamic in-game weather and brand new water effects and textures are stunning. There are 7 different permanent or seasonal battle types to choose from, and World of Warships is also available on consoles. Download and play World of Warships for free using my link in the description, and during registration use the promo code DDAY80th to receive a huge starter pack including 200 doubloons, 1 million credits, 7 days of premium account time, a free ship after you complete 15 battles, and for a limited time only, 3 special D-Day missions after 9 battles. The Vietnam War is beginning to escalate. Beginning in March of 1965, the United States Air Force initiated Operation Rolling Thunder, a bombing campaign intended to cripple North Vietnam's ability to wage war. Rolling Thunder will target the North Vietnamese transportation network and its logistical hubs, the destruction of which will interrupt supply to the Viet Cong and its forces fighting in South Vietnam. The hope is that extended aerial bombardment will break North Vietnam's will to continue the war. A primary objective of this bombing campaign is the large and well-built Thanh Hóa Railway and Highway Bridge over the Ma River. The bridge, nicknamed Ham Rong or Dragon's Jaw by the North Vietnamese, is a major line of communication connecting Hanoi and the key port of Haiphong to the southern provinces of the country. To underline its importance, the North Vietnamese have moved 5 air defence regiments into the area to defend the bridge. Between 150 and 200 37mm and 57mm anti-aircraft guns, along with SAM batteries, surround the bridge, making it one of the most heavily defended locations anywhere in the world. Furthermore, the Dragon's Jaw is anchored on both sides by tall mountains which severely limit the ingress route taken by attacking aircraft. Simply put, the bridge will be an extremely difficult target to destroy. Nonetheless, a US Air Force strike package of 79 aircraft approaching from Thailand and South Vietnam will attempt to do just that. 30 F-105 Thunderchiefs armed with 750-pound bombs and 16 with AGM-12 Bullpup air-to-ground missiles will deliver the main blow, while 21 F-100 Super Sabres provide fighter escort and suppression of enemy air defences. 2 RF-101 Voodoo reconnaissance aircraft will document the damage. At the same time, US Navy aircraft from the USS Hancock and Coral Sea are launching their own attacks. 3 A-4C Skyhawks will approach Dragon's Jaw from the Gulf of Tonkin to further suppress enemy air defences. The US Navy will send 32 A-4s, 12 F-8s and 4 F-4 Phantoms to hit a different but equally heavily defended bridge at Dong Pho Tong, 10 miles to the north. This is to be a maximum effort mission. To oppose them, the VPAF has only a small number of mostly old Soviet fighters. North Vietnam has yet to receive the new MiG-21 interceptor and must instead rely on its fleet of subsonic MiG-15 and MiG-17 fighters. Whereas the United States is about to attack the Dragon's Jaw Bridge with 86 aircraft, the entire VPAF totals just 36 jet fighters. In fact, the US Air Force does not regard North Vietnam's tiny air force as a major threat, especially with the advent of air-to-air missiles which many commanders believe will make aerial dogfighting a thing of the past. Lieutenant Pham Ngoc Lan leads his flight of 6 MiG-17s from Noi Bai towards the intruders, just as the US Air Force aircraft are entering the combat area at 9:40 am. With the bridge in sight, Strike Package Commander Lieutenant Colonel Robinson Risner leads the first 16 F-105s, nicknamed Thuds by their pilots, on their attack run, while the F-100s split off to engage enemy air defences. The American aircraft dive into a hurricane of anti-aircraft fire as 37mm and 57mm tracers crisscross the sky. In the lead aircraft, Risner fires off his first bullpup and guides the rudimentary precision missile towards the bridge using a small joystick in the cockpit. The bullpup explodes right on target as the rest of the missile-armed Thuds follow Risner's lead. One after another, they launch their bullpups and each pilot scores a direct hit. However, each F-105 will need to make 2 passes in order to launch both missiles. When all 16 of the Thuds have launched, Risner leads them in a turn to attack again. Meanwhile, the F-100s are having difficulty hitting North Vietnamese AA positions due to the heavy volume of fire and rugged terrain. First Lieutenant George C. Smith is attempting to suppress a flak site near the bridge when he takes a direct hit. The Super Sabre spirals into the ground with no chute sighted, and Lieutenant Smith becomes the first American killed attacking Dragon's Jaw. Lieutenant Colonel Risner is leading the second wave and fires off his second bullpup. Just as he guides it into the span, he also takes a hit and his cockpit fills with smoke. Despite a serious fuel leak, Risner remains on station to direct the rest of the attack and is later able to land at Da Nang Air Base. Captain Bill Meyerholt launches his bullpup, which also impacts the bridge, but is shocked to discover that the missiles are having no effect on the target. Although every single missile makes a direct hit, the 250-pound warhead on the bullpup is simply too weak to do anything other than char the bridge. 10 miles to the north, Lieutenant Lan's flight of 6 MiG-17s is approaching the bridge at Dong Pho, which is under attack from the US Navy strike group. The A-4 Skyhawks and F-8 Crusaders dive in on the bridge in pairs, braving heavy ground fire before releasing their munitions. Lieutenant Commander Raymond Voden from the USS Hancock's VA-216 squadron is making his bombing run when his Skyhawk is damaged by anti-aircraft fire. With his aircraft leaking fluid, Voden ejects and will be captured by the North Vietnamese. At 10:09 am, Lieutenant Lan radios to VPAF Air Control that he has attained visual on the American raiders. The order comes back: drop external fuel tanks and engage the enemy. The MiGs quickly close the distance and are not detected by the unsuspecting US Navy pilots. The MiG-17 pilots find themselves intermixed with the American formation as the strike aircraft are making their runs on the bridge. Lieutenant Lan and his wingman follow a pair of Crusaders preparing to rocket the span, completely unaware of the enemy aircraft behind them. Lieutenant Lan squeezes the trigger and sends cannon rounds into the Crusader in front of him, piloted by Lieutenant Commander Spence Thomas. The cannon rounds shred the left wing and sever hydraulic lines, but Thomas and his wingman abort their run and quickly go to afterburner. Both Crusaders escape, but Lieutenant Lan claims what he believes is the first North Vietnamese kill of the war. Despite his barely functioning aircraft, Lieutenant Commander Thomas is able to make an emergency landing at Da Nang, and his Crusader will eventually return to service after extensive repairs. Nonetheless, the other MiGs drive the American aircraft away from the bridge before it can be destroyed. Although they have not shot down any enemy aircraft, the VPAF has scored an aerial victory against the United States in their first attempt. Back at the Dragon's Jaw, 30 Thunderchiefs armed with 8 750-pound bombs each are now making their attack runs. The first wave of bombs misses due to a strong southwesterly wind, but the later flights adjust their aim and put most of their munitions on target. When the last flight pulls out of their run, the bridge is blackened by the impact of 32 missiles and 120 bombs, but is still standing. One of the RF-101 Voodoos is documenting the lack of damage when it strays too close to North Vietnamese AA defences. The Voodoo, piloted by Captain Herschel Morgan, takes several hits and is shot down, but Morgan survives. He will be captured and spend the rest of the war in a POW camp. Although each F-105 has dropped 3 tons of explosives, more than what the American B-17 Flying Fortress carried in the Second World War, they have failed to destroy the Dragon's Jaw. Another raid will be required. The following day, the 4th of April, begins with more American reconnaissance missions over Thanh Hóa, tipping off the VPAF to an imminent attack. Sure enough, 48 Thunderchiefs escorted by 21 Super Sabres are detected on North Vietnamese radar at 10 AM en route to the Dragon's Jaw. This time, the Thuds are only carrying the 750-pound bombs after the poor performance of the bullpups the previous day. To avoid being surprised by MiGs again, 4 Super Sabres will fly 60 miles ahead of the main formation towards the VPAF's Hanoi airfield to act as a radar picket. 4 others will cover the rear of the strike package. The attackers will fly the same route at almost the same time they did the previous day, but this time there will be no flak suppressors to attack enemy anti-aircraft batteries. At around 10 AM, the first flights of Thunderchiefs spot the Dragon's Jaw bridge and begin their bombing runs. The 48 strike aircraft are attacking in flights of 4, while the rest of the aircraft circle to wait their turn. Visibility is worse than the day before, and the anti-aircraft fire is once again fierce. However, the first flights of Thuds put their munitions on target. Captain Carlisle Smith successfully bombs the bridge, but is hit by ground fire as he pulls out of his dive. He is forced to eject and is later captured by the North Vietnamese. An A-1 Sky Raider, piloted by Captain Walt Draeger, is on station to provide combat air patrol and attempts to mark Smith's crash site for a later rescue operation, but his aircraft is also shot down by enemy flak. Draeger does not survive the impact. Meanwhile, the 8 MiG-17s of the 921st Fighter Regiment scramble from their base at Noi Bai at 10:20 AM and head south to intercept the American formation. Yet, the North Vietnamese have also changed tactics. Upon takeoff, a decoy flight of 4 MiGs split off and fly south at a predictable heading to attract the attention of American radar. The rest descend below radar and take a different route to the combat zone, flying southwest before turning east to engage the formation. While the Super Sabres are preoccupied tracking the decoy MiGs, the North Vietnamese plan works exactly as designed. With radar attention focused on the decoy flight, the other MiGs slip in behind a flight of circling Thunderchiefs undetected. 2 of the 4 Super Sabre pilots to the south spot the MiG-17s rapidly climbing to attack the unsuspecting Thuds and sound the alarm over the radio. Zinc flight, break off, you have MiGs behind you. However, the transmission is garbled and never reaches the Thunderchiefs before they are set upon by the MiGs, which have gained a decisive altitude advantage. Captain Tran Hahn opens fire on the flight leader, Major Frank Bennett, with his 37mm autocannon from a range of 1,500 feet. Bennett's Thud takes major damage and he decides to try an emergency landing at Da Nang airbase. However, he will lose control just short of the airbase and will eject, but his parachute will fail to open and Bennett will be killed. His F-105 is the first confirmed kill by the VPAF in the Vietnam War. Captain Hahn's wingman also fires and hits Bennett's wingman, Zinc 2, piloted by Captain James Magnuson. Magnuson's Thunderchief is mortally wounded, and he will attempt to ditch in the Gulf of Tonkin. However, he will never be found after bailing out over the water. A third Thunderchief is damaged by the MiGs, but the final Thud in the flight manages to jettison its bombs and escape. Despite their stunning success, the VPAF MiGs are now faced with the remaining Thunderchiefs and Super Sabres, which are now fully alerted to their presence. 3 F-100s move to engage the North Vietnamese fighters, which attempt to split up, but the Super Sabre pilots do not fire their Sidewinder missiles, for fear of hitting a friendly aircraft. Captain Don Kilgus latches on to a MiG-17, which dives towards the ground, attempting to play a game of chicken where the lighter MiG can pull up faster than the Super Sabre. Flying downward at nearly a 90-degree angle, Kilgus opens fire with his 20mm cannon and splashes the MiG, becoming the first American pilot to shoot down a hostile aircraft in the war, and the only air-to-air MiG kill by an F-100 during the conflict. He pulls hard back on the stick and barely avoids striking the water. Meanwhile, the rest of the MiGs retreat north, but 2 more fail to return to base. It is unclear what happened to them. Captain Tran Han asserts they were shot down by American F-105s, but no other US Air Force pilots claimed a kill on this day. It is possible they were accidentally shot down by friendly anti-aircraft fire. Meanwhile, the rest of the Thuds finish plastering the Dragon's Jaw bridge with their 750-pound bombs. When the smoke from the over 300 direct hits clears, the structure is still intact, much to the shock and dismay of the American pilots. The Dragon's Jaw has taken 32 missiles and around 420 bombs in just 2 days, but the US Air Force has only managed to close the bridge for just a few hours. 6 aircraft have been lost to the intense ground fire and North Vietnamese fighters. The unsuccessful attacks on the bridge are a major disappointment, which necessitates more costly missions. From April to September of 1965, multiple raids will be carried out, but none manage to destroy the span. 19 more pilots are lost in the vicinity of the Dragon's Jaw in this time period, and it will be another 7 years before the bridge will finally be neutralized. The Vietnam People's Air Force has also proven their ability to disrupt American missions. US Air Force Chief of Staff John McConnell is furious that 2 F-105s have been shot down by relics from the Korean War. Complacency, radar failures, and faulty tactics have allowed the enemy to engage the US Air Force on relatively equal terms despite their technological inferiority. Soon, the North Vietnamese will receive the modern MiG-21 supersonic interceptor, which proves to be a potent weapon against Rolling Thunder strike packages. The United States is not winning the air war over Vietnam, and a change of tactics will be needed to restore the balance. Download and play World of Warships for free using my link in the description, and during registration use the promo code DDAY80th to receive a huge starter pack including 200 doubloons, 1 million credits, 7 days of premium account time, a free ship after you complete 15 battles, and for a limited time only, 3 special D-Day missions after 9 battles. Thanks again to our amazing patrons, without which we wouldn't be able to produce videos like this. Welcome to all our new patrons this month, and a special thanks to our patron of the week, Ashton Gasley. Each week we choose our favourite Patreon comments to shout out. This week, Klaus Schmitzer says, "Awesome, glad to see you're covering the Vietnam War. Do you plan on more of this time period?" The answer is yes. We're doing a short 3-part series covering the cat and mouse evolution of American and Vietnamese fighter tactics over the course of Operation Rolling Thunder. If you'd like to support us, please join our Patreon and get access to exclusive benefits such as early access to videos ad and sponsor free. We'd love to have you as part of our community.